No? Okay, sorry. And Mum's behind the camera. This is our first time using Facebook Live, so you may see some technical difficulties and us two conversing with each other. We do apologise and we aim to get better. So as I said, this is the first time we've ever done something like this. We thought we'd give it a try and give you the opportunity to see behind the camera in effect of how I actually create some of the pieces you see. So you might recognise the cork tile in front of you that often appears in photos on Instagram and Facebook as I'm finishing off pieces and sharing it with you to see some of the stuff that we're doing here in the shop. One of the most popular things we've been asked to make at the moment is the floating necklace. It's a design that's been around for a while and it comes in and out. It's a really great versatile look you can wear with jeans or you can wear it for something really formal. And of late I've been doing a lot of these for weddings. So we thought tonight we'd give you an idea of how you actually make one. So it's a fairly simple process. It uses a number of key things. So the first one is beading wire. So tonight I am using the Crimps and Beads stringing wire. I'm using the 7 strand in this really funky pink. You might see beadle-on wrapped around it. This is a wire controller, so it stops my wire stringing all over the place and keeps it nice and tidy. So fantastic little product there. In addition to that, you're going to need a couple of little tools. You'll need some flush cutters and a couple of chain nose pliers. You're also going to need your trusty E6000 glue. Don't leave home without this stuff. From findings perspective, you will need the tiny micro crimps. For you seedies out there who are used to using the 15/0 beads, these are right up your alley. You're going to need a couple of jump rings, a couple of the crimp tube ends, and a magnet. So you'll see, and of course, a couple of rulers. So you'll see here in front of you, I have started to lay out a design. So tonight, Mum gave me the challenge of coming up with something that was Mother's Day. So we went with a kind of pink theme. I'm doing a little bit of a twist on the floating necklace I showed you earlier, and we're actually going to add a little pendant detail using this Swarovski twist bead. So as I've said, there's 3 colours of crystal laid out here. We have the light rose, the rose, and the cow. We just thought that would be a nice light fun mix for a Mother's Day option. So to get started, you're going to need to cut yourself about 60 centimeters of the bead stringing wire. I've got a piece we cut earlier. You're going to need to start with some of these tiny little micro crimps. So I'm just going to put a couple out on my workspace here. I only do a couple at a time because these things go flying really easily. So the first thing you're going to do is use your end just as you would a needle, and we're going to thread on 2 crimps. So you can see 2 crimps floating. I'm going to grab the 2 ends of my wire, and that's going to send the crimps to the middle. I'm just going to get a thumb length gap in between there. As you can see on the design board, I don't have a central bead here. That's to have the pendant actually hanging. If I was doing a central bead, you'd have a bead here. And so instead of my thumb being here, you'd have a bead and the 2 crimps on either side to prepare. But in order to get that nice gap to give the pendant a space to hang, I'm just using my thumb as a rough guide to get the first of the measurements. So picking up your chain nose plier, you can see I've got the micro crimp there. I'm just coming along and just giving it a nice hard flush squeeze. So with that first one in place, I'm picking up our small ruler. I'm placing that on the 2 centimeter mark, so as you can see there, dropping that crimp just on the top of the ruler, grabbing my chain nose pliers and just giving it a squeeze. So that's creating the center gap where the pendant is actually going to hang from. So to get started on the necklace, I'm just going to pick up the 2 center pieces, which is the little 4 mil bicones that I'm planning to use, and thread on a crimp. Now I'm cheating and doing both ends at one time. You can just do this one at a time, but while I'm down there I like to cheat. So from there, all I'm simply going to do is just give that a squeeze, flip that around so you can see, and I'm just squeezing that one into place as well. So as you can see, on the wire, we now have the 2 Swarovski crystals seemingly floating into place, just held together by those crimps. So then we start adding the next round of colour. So on the next one side, I'm picking up another crimp and sliding it down, grabbing the ruler, and again at that 2 centimetre mark, sliding the crimp on and giving it a squeeze. The ruler is a great way to keep it consistent. I have done floating designs in the past where I have not, and I've just used fingers. I've done different gauges. It all depends on how you like your design. Because I'm actually doing these so that both sides match, I'm keeping it to a very uniform distance. So with that second crimp on, and we just squeeze. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So we're sliding the crimp on, picking up the ruler, positioning the last crimp at the 2 centimetre mark, sliding him down and crimping. Picking up the next bead in my run, which is the lovely 6mm round light rose, if I can find its hole. And again, using the end of my wire as a needle to thread through that little crimp. Gravity to get him down. And then my chain nose pliers just to lock him in place. So that is the start of our floating necklace. So rather than sit here all night and watch me finish the rest of it, which would take me probably about another 20 or so minutes, I'm going to bring in ones that I've prepared earlier. Okay, clear that away. So the one that we were just working on is this one where you can see the 2 dark pink, the 2 rows in the middle. And the second row, which we've got laid out on the design board here, has the 2 cows sitting in the middle. So with the finished design, it's going to look something like this when I start putting it all together. So the next step in this, once you've got it to this stage, is to do your trimming. So what I like to do at that point is pick up my 45 centimetre ruler. I'm aiming to have this piece finish at around 47 centimetres. To do that, I'll be cutting this wire to 45 centimetres, and then the magnet and the jump ring will be the rest of that centimeterage. So half of 45 is 22.5. That's my midway point. Because I know that there is a 2 centimetre gap here, I can set those between the 21.5 and the 23.5 mark, and that is my midway point for this jewellery wire. So with my thumb there, I'm just going to get the cow sitting nestling on either side of those as well. And I know that that is now set at halfway. So I'm just measuring out there. So that's the 22.5 mark. So holding that there with my flush cutters pointing towards the end of my wire, I'm just trimming. Okay, and then we are getting those 2 wires back together again, and I'm going to hold them at the 45 centimetre mark, flushed up together. Make sure that those lines are between the 21 and 23, which they are. Grab that end, and with the flush end towards the wire, trim. And of course it decides not to cut tonight. So that is now, whoops, our 45 centimetre length. So as you can see, we've got a very pretty floaty necklace. So then we start to finish. So to finish, you will need the 2 crimp tube ends. And I'm grabbing the jump rings and the magnet as well. Okay, so for this, we'll need our trusty E6000. This is just an extra security precaution because I always like to be extra careful. So I'm just dipping the ends of that wire into a nodule of glue, getting them nice and even, and taking away some of that excess. This is where corkboards are great for scraping it off on. With the tube finding, I'm then just squeezing those 2 pieces of wire in there, grabbing my chain nose pliers and towards the deeper end of them, giving that crimp a flatten. So that crimp is now actually holding the wire in place, and that actually would be strong enough, but the E6000 will cure in 24 hours and that will not be coming off at all. And then we repeat that at the other end. So again, we just dip the wires into the end of the E6000. You just want to get a little bit of a coat. You don't need an awful lot. Okay, and just get them nice and tight together again. Pick up our crimp tube and just slide on like that. And again, with the chain nose pliers, or if you've got flat nose, you can also use those. With the chain nose down to the nice thick end and squeeze. And there is a necklace ready to attach a magnet. Before I attach the magnet, I'm actually going to put the pendant in place. So I've wrapped that with a really nice large loop, as you can see. I'll be showing how to use bail making pliers on a future video. But for now, that's the 2 pieces I had earlier in the tray, and that's going to swivel so that it sits nice and flush like that. So to get that into place, we're simply going to lower that over all of the crystal. So that nice, large, lovely large loop, we can get it right into position where we want it. And now we have our floating necklace with a twist. Okay, now to finish, you just need 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. You can either use the bent nose or the straight chain, that's entirely up to you. With the steel jump rings, you will need to use 2 tools. And remember, with jump rings, it's always twist them apart. So it's a sideways, use your hands to twist away. It's a simple matter of sliding the magnet on, sliding the loop over, and twist close. Never open your jump rings that way, you'll distort your shape and you'll ruin your jump ring. And we repeat on the other side. So again, picking up and twist, sliding on the magnet, sliding on the loop. Sorry if my hands and tools are in the way, peoples. And twist close. And there we have our finished necklace, which I'm just going to pop on the bust so that you can see a beautiful shot of the finished piece we've made tonight. And that is our finished floating necklace with a twist. Now the fun part of this piece is actually going to be used as our Mother's Day giveaway. So for those of you who visit us at the markets or in the shop between now and we think the first weekend in May, you'll go into the draw to win this lovely piece for you, yourself, or mum, or somebody else you love. We look forward to hearing back from you on your thoughts and feedback on this Facebook Live video, and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Bye for now.